Today I'm talking to Jillian Morris in honor of Shark Awareness Day. She is a marine biologist and founder and president of Sharks for Kids in Florida, in the United States. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. There are over 500 species of shark. Which one is your favorite?
So my favorite animal on the planet and my favorite shark is the great hammerhead. It's just a fascinating creature, absolutely amazing. And I get to spend a lot of time diving with them where I live in the Bahamas. So pretty special animal.
That's really cool. I've never seen a great hammer.
Well, hopefully you get a chance to. They're really, really awesome animals.
Yeah, I've been to Vero. I've seen really small sharks there,
Oh,
but
cool.
otherwise, I've never seen any sharks.
Oh, well, hopefully you get to see lots of them. And being a shark lover, I'm sure you'll find ways to get to see them and explore and travel and learn more about them. So that's really cool.
Yeah, is that one up there the great hammer?
The one that's sort of right here over my shoulder with the huge cephalofoil, that's what their head is called. It's called a cephalofoil, and they're the largest species of hammerhead. And that cephalofoil actually is filled with all the pores, the electroreceptors that help them find stingrays buried in the sand, their favorite snack, and help them navigate. So pretty awesome, super powered shark.
Cool. So, what about the one up, like, above that one?
That's a nurse shark, another one of my favorites. And these are all photos I've taken. These are all species we have in the Bahamas and very common species. And nurse sharks are probably one of the most common. And those are barbels that they can actually use to feel for food in the sand. And their sort of superpower is suction. It's been said to be the equivalent of 10 vacuum cleaners. So they can suck a conch, which is a big snail, right out of its shell. And they do have teeth, but they're really small. They kind of grind things up rather than bigger, pointier teeth for grabbing at fish.
Cool. What do you think is the coolest thing about sharks?
So the coolest thing about sharks, I think, is how different they are. They're over 500 different species, and they come a lot of different shapes, sizes, colors, patterns, and they have all these incredible adaptations that different species have to help them live in certain areas, find certain food, hide from predators. So I think they do some really amazing things, but the coolest is just how different all these animals are, but they're all sharks.
Yeah. My uncle is super uncomfortable about sharks. He will definitely be watching this. What do you tell people who are scared of sharks?
So I think sharks they get a bad reputation, right? Everyone watching has maybe seen something on the news or the internet or movies that make them seem like they're monsters or man-eaters, but they're not. They're important, awesome, amazing animals. They deserve our respect. They are wild animals, but shark bites are actually very, very rare. And I think if people have a chance to see them and watch them and just learning the facts instead of the fear, I think that can really help change people's idea about sharks. And because even if they've never seen one, a lot of people are really afraid of them because of all the things they hear. And yes, they can be big. Yes, they have teeth, but that doesn't mean they're monsters. And we can have really amazing interactions swimming and diving with them. And millions of people go in the ocean every single day, and there are sharks everywhere. And so those negative interactions are really, really, really rare. And so I think it's important for people to understand that and to just learn a little bit more. And if they get the chance to see them and realize that they're not trying to attack us, they're not biting us, it can help them change the way they feel.
Yeah, if you're swimming up close to them, they won't attack you because they only attack seals, right?
Yeah, well, bites happen, but it's very, very rare. And it's not because they're looking for people. We're not on the menu for sharks. They're not swimming around.
They're looking for seals. So
Yeah.
when you're swimming at the top, they think you're a seal because they can't tell from there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when the bite happens. But when you're swimming out close to them, they can actually tell that you're a human.
Yeah, and you think about it, they don't have hands or nobody's making them a snack or going to a restaurant. So if they see a potential meal, a lot of times they want to go grab it before it can get away. Um, and and when you see with white sharks who do like to eat seals and sea lions, they actually roll their eye back as the bite is happening because they're trying to protect their eye from the claws or a seal or sea lion biting them. And so they'll do that. Sharks have a way to protect their eyes. Think of safety goggles for sharks. And so at that last moment, they're actually not even looking. And so, but they want to try and grab that food before it gets away. So, yeah.
Yeah. Why are sharks so important, and how do they help the ocean?
So this is a conversation I actually have a lot because we hear sharks are so important for the oceans, but a lot of times maybe it's not explained why. And so sharks are predators. They do eat other animals. They're not always on the top of the food chain, but those that are, they do. They help keep the populations in check so that there's not too many of one fish or not enough of another. They also can influence where prey animals go and how many of them. So a study I worked on that was really interesting was we were looking at tiger sharks and they'd move in and out of an area, and their movement in and out of the area would actually affect how animals behaved. So when tiger sharks were in the bay, the sea turtles would do different dive behavior. They'd spend less time at the surface where they're kind of vulnerable. Remember, we talked about things being up at the surface. And so they'd have to take a shorter breath. So their dives had to be more shallow because they didn't have that big breath of air to hold while they're underwater. So they can actually control and regulate where different animals are living, their distribution. They'll also eat injured and sick, dying, dead animals, which can kind of clean up the ocean. So it's really about keeping it balanced and healthy, which is why it's important. And all of us, no matter where we live, get products from the ocean, food, different things that we might use. Also, some of the air we breathe has oxygen from the ocean. So, all pretty important stuff. So, it's really important for us to have healthy oceans, and healthy oceans need sharks. So, they're actually really, really important for all of us and our lives.
My friend Ella and Cash are fighting to ban a shark hunt going on in Florida. 100 million sharks are killed each year worldwide. 143 out of 500 species are under threat, from vulnerable to critically endangered. What is happening with their populations?
So, with some species of shark, they're being threatened from overfishing. So people are taking too many out, and sharks don't reproduce quickly. They don't have lots of offspring. They don't have lots of babies. They don't spawn laying thousands and thousands of eggs like other fish do. And so, because it takes them a long time to grow really slowly, they mature late, which means they have to be older before they can even reproduce, and they don't have a lot of young. They're pretty vulnerable to overfishing. People also kill them for sport, like that tournament you were talking about, out of fear. And then there are also people eat shark. Their fins are used to make shark fin soup, and other products from their body, like the oil from their liver, is used to make lipstick, lotion, makeup. But we're also seeing habitat destruction, coastal areas, marine debris, they're getting tangled and caught in that. And climate change is affecting how they move and when they move. And so that affects larger ecosystems as well. And so for many of these species, if they're targeted, either in a fishery or if they're caught as bycatch, as an accidental catch when people are fishing for something else, this is what's happening to sharks. And because their populations can't recover quickly because they're not having thousands of babies every single year, this is affecting, and this is why so many of them now are threatened with extinction.
Yeah. What can kids do to help save sharks?
So kids are really powerful. You guys have a voice and you can share videos like this. This is awesome. School projects, get your class to learn about sharks. Sharks for Kids hosts lessons for schools. Using less plastic, you've probably talked about that and maybe didn't think it would help sharks, but any plastic that stays out of the ocean, means it's not going to affect animals and harm them. So that's a great thing to do. Making posters, sharing facts, getting your family, like your uncle, you said he's afraid of sharks, talking to him, sharing stuff, getting him interested and excited to learn about sharks is something that's really, really amazing. Doing beach cleanups or cleaning up in your area, making sure trash doesn't end up in rivers and waterways, which could end up in the ocean. So there's lots and lots of things that kids can do, and you can encourage the adults in your life to do as well. But really learning about sharks, sharing those facts, and using less plastic are big, big things that every kid, every one of us, no matter how old or young we are, can do.
Yeah. What do you wish more people knew about sharks?
I wish people knew that they can do cool things like glow. There's species of sharks that can glow. I love that baby lemon sharks have best friends, best buddies they hang out with. They also have little belly button scars when they're born because they're born alive and connected to their mom with an umbilical cord, just like we were. So I wish that, people just knew the fun, little interesting facts that actually probably they don't realize, and they don't know as much about sharks. So I think learning kind of those cool little facts to help people see them differently and see maybe that we have a lot in common with them as well, and just how important they really are, and that they're not monsters. They're actually incredibly fascinating animals that are important for the oceans, which we're all connected to.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me today. Click the link below to find out more about Sharks for Kids. And remember, together kids can save the world. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.
Aw, thank you so much.